Hello traders, welcome to your market update for Friday the 30th of January 2015. Overnight we had quite an exciting market kicking off with New Zealand's RBNZ moving to a more neutral tone from their previous hawkish stance. And this sent the New Zealand dollar into freefall, which also pulled down the Australian dollar under speculations that we're going to see an interest rate cut next Tuesday. The US dollar was still favoured by the market, and that can be reflected in some price action. And it's quite interesting at the moment, we're seeing in the headlines talk of a currency war, and that's on the back of all the economies around the world are scrambling to keep their local economies afloat and in the best condition they can under these quite volatile conditions. We're seeing Singapore, the ECB, New Zealand, and speculation that the RBA are all looking to ease their policy, while we have the US that are having a more aggressive policy. So things are quite turbulent and they're at extreme levels, especially in the euro, and that's why we're seeing some quite large price action. The euro was actually supported overnight, and that's due to speculation that the Swiss National Bank was quietly selling its currency to support the euro versus the franc. Even though that the Swiss have removed the peg, they still need to fight the divergence for the sake of their economy. They don't want the spread to get too far apart, as it does hurt things over there. So without the support of the euro franc last night, the euro probably would have fallen against all the other pairs against the US dollar. And if that was to dry up, I'm sure that we will see the euro reflecting its fundamental condition, which is quite poor. The Australian Reserve Bank, as I mentioned, is expected to cut interest rates next Tuesday, and the market has certainly started pricing that in. You can see that from bond markets, currency markets, and right through. And this is on the back of, although we had fourth quarter consumer price index beat the expectations, all other data has been quite weak. We've got import-export prices showing very low inflation. We've got iron ore prices at 5-year lows. Australia's demand from China is actually starting to dry up, and the economy is really cooling on the back of the mining boom, which has really come to an abrupt halt. Unemployment is also at a 10-year high at employment just over 6%, and wages have been stagnant for quite some time. So many believe that if Australia wants to stay competitive, they're going to have to lower rates. And sooner is better than later, and there's no better time than doing it now. So we could see an interest rate cut, and the market is pricing a fair bit of that in the Australian dollar versus the US, considering the divergence in the economies, with the US being quite aggressive with potentially raising rates, and Australia on a downward slide, looking to have no choice but looking at cutting rates. So we'll have a look at that next week, and that will be a focus. And let's have a look at what we've got coming up. We've got quite a subdued session in the European session here tonight until we get to consumer price. And leading up to this, the market will be trading just purely on the back of technicals and the story that's been painted throughout the week, with the US dollar strength should continue. The New Zealand and the Australian dollar will still be under pressure, and we will have a look at some other stories in the technical aspects with the video that I'll do later on today. So when the European CPI comes out, if that was to come out poor, we could see the euro come under a bit of pressure and eventually give way to the fundamental condition which is going on over there. And then later in the session, we have the gross domestic product coming out of the US, and the market will be focusing on this. But however, I don't expect a large reaction from the market on the back of this. It will be on Friday afternoon, and the market is still focused on the Fed's policy. So we could see the weekend come to a quiet close after quite an exciting week with a lot of price action. However, I will be doing a video on technicals to see if we can make a few extra bucks before the weekend. So stay tuned. Keep an eye on Twitter for my comments, commentary, and some potential trading opportunities throughout the night. I'll also be doing some more videos. So I'll be posting some videos, some market tips in the near future. So keep an eye on that. But until next week, have a great weekend and trade well.